Good morning everyone. So our group will tackle about Pavlov's classical conditioning. We will discuss what is classical conditioning, the key features in the classical conditioning, the 5 key components of classical conditioning, the conditioning process, the other phenomena in classical conditioning, Watsonian conditioning, and what's John Brutus Watson experiment, that is little Albert.
So first, we should know what is classical conditioning. It is a type of learning that happens unconsciously, and it's an automatic form of learning where a neutral stimulus is paired with a stimulus that elicits a response. It is a fundamental concept in behaviorism, demonstrating how associations are formed with stimuli. So we have John B. Watson, one known behaviorist who writes that existing among antecedents, behavior, and following conditions like rewards, punishment, or mental effects. His contribution emphasized that the connection between stimuli responses and the condition that follow, which can include rewards or punishment. His work focused on observable behaviors rather than internal thoughts or feelings, laying foundational principles for behaviorism. So next we have Ivan Pavlov. He is a psychologist who spent the rest of his life studying reflexes of dogs, which led him to the discovery of classical conditioning, or also known as the association theory. So in here, his contributions. Pavlov's experiment led to the discovery of classical conditioning, a learning process where a neutral stimulus becomes associated with a natural stimulus to elicit a conditioned response. His research illustrates how stimuli and responses are connected, forming the basis for understanding associative learning. So, both individuals played crucial roles in shaping modern psychology through their focus on observable behavior and learning processes.
Unconditioned stimulus, or known as UCS. The unconditioned stimulus is something that naturally and automatically triggers a response without any prior learning. It's an innate or biological reaction. In the example provided, the smell of food is the unconditioned stimulus because it naturally causes a dog to salivate without any training. Conditioned response, or known as UCR. The unconditioned response is the natural or automatic reaction to the unconditioned stimulus. This response also happens without any prior conditioning. In the example provided, the salivation of the dog in the response to the smell of the food is the unconditioned response. Neutral stimulus. A neutral stimulus is something that does not initially cause any reaction. It's a stimulus that has no effect on the subject before the conditioning process begins. In the example provided, the sound of the bell is the neutral stimulus. It does not cause the dog to salivate on its own, and it's presented with the unconditioned stimulus, or the food, during the conditioning phase.
Number 4, conditioned stimulus. So, this happens when a neutral stimulus is repeatedly paired with unconditional stimulus. So, this means a once neutral thing like a sound or project gains meaning after being paired with something natural, so it can now trigger a response on its own. And number 5, conditioned response. It is the research to a stimuli. So this is the learned reaction that happens the conditioned stimulus is presented.
The classical conditioning process explains how individuals associate stimuli with responses. The process involves the unconditioned stimulus, neutral stimulus association, conditioned stimulus, and conditioned response. Pavlov's experiment with dogs demonstrates classical conditioning's power in shaping behavior. By forming associations between stimuli, individuals can learn new responses.
So now, let's proceed to the other phenomena in classical conditioning. But let's first read of what Bacon and Modi said. They said that when the conditional stimulus is repeatedly unreinforced, that is, without the unconditional stimulus, the conditional stimulus will eventually diminish in intensity and undergo the phenomenon called extinction. Sa madaling salita, kapag ang isang conditional stimulus, halimbawa ang tunog ng bell, ay paulit-ulit na pinapakita ng walang kasamang ang conditional stimulus, halimbawa ang pagkain na nagiging sanhi ng paglalaway ng aso, ang tugon ng aso sa tunog ay unti-unting mawawala. That explains the extinction. For example, if the bell still rings, that makes the dog salivate, but there is no food, it will eventually unlearn the connection. The ring of the bell will return to its normal sound. So to speak, the dog will no longer respond. So, yung pagtugon ng aso sa tunog ng bell ay unti-unting mawawala. Kumbaga, hindi na siya magre-respond dito. Hindi na siya magsasalivate. Next is spontaneous recovery. When the extension of learning passes through time, the conditioned response may still be restored. It means that extension does not completely involve unlearning of the pairings. So, ibig lang sabihin nito, sa pagdaan ng mga araw, pwede ulit siyang mag-respond sa tunog ng bell or yung stimuli. Pwede na ulit siyang mag-salivate pag nakakarinig na siya ng mga tunog ng bell. Next, generalization. When the dog salivates by just merely hearing the buzzer, it is likely to be similar conditioned stimuli when it hears a faster or a slower beat of the buzzer or any device with quite a similar sound. So, dito, pag nakakarinig siya ng katunog ng buzzer, nagre-respond siya, nagsasalivate siya. However, Harris pointed out that the more different the new stimulus to the conditioned stimuli, the lesser generalization surfaces. So, pag kunti lang yung katunog ng bell, unti din yung magiging tendency na magpo-fall ito sa generalization na parang hindi na siya magre-respond dito kasi unti lang yung similarities nila. Like for example, in this PowerPoint, you can see that the baby is afraid of the small furry animals, but it says here that he is not afraid to the big black dog, which means that he is only afraid to the small furry animals, but he is not afraid to the big black dog, which is a furry animals also.
This phenomenon is called discrimination in classical conditioning. So this is an example of discrimination in classical conditioning where the dog learns to differentiate between the buzzer and other stimuli, responding only to the specific stimulus associated with unconditioned stimulus. John Broadus Watson, an American psychologist, applied Pavlov's classical conditioning principles to explain human behavior, especially the learning of emotions like fear. Watson proposed that humans learn emotions through classical conditioning, just like Pavlov's dog.
The Little Albert experiment, conducted in 1920 by behaviorist John B. Watson and his graduate student Rosalie Rayner, aimed to demonstrate that emotions, especially fear, could be classically conditioned in humans. The study involved a 9-month-old infant referred to as Little Albert. Initially, Albert was shown various objects and animals, including a white rat. He showed no signs of fear toward this white rat. This established the white rat as a neutral stimulus, or NS. Experiment proceeded by pairing the neutral stimulus with an unconditioned stimulus, or US, a loud noise created by striking a steel bar with a hammer. The loud noise naturally caused a startle and fear response in Albert, making the noise of the unconditioned stimulus, and his fear reaction was the unconditioned response. After several pairings, Albert began to show the fear, which is the conditioned response, or CR. At the sight of the white rat alone, now the conditioned stimulus, or CS, even without the noise, Albert was showing a fear.